Hey, happy holidays, my old friend.
You too. And many happy returns. So, what's on your mind today?
Well, thanks for asking. You know how I am always yammering on about the rich getting richer, and the poor getting poorer?
Yes. It is a central theme of all of your complaining.
Indeed it is. Anyway, I want to talk about this subject yet again.
For the love of God, not again. Okay, I'm just kidding. What have you got?
So, I was reading about the last-minute shopping binge that the American people went on last night, December 24th, Christmas Eve.
Yup. I heard about that as well. Troubling, in a gluttonous kind of way. The American people are obsessive and nauseating consumers.
Yes, they are. And the government loves this. The government needs the American people to be gluttonous, nauseating consumers. Otherwise, the economy contracts. We produce nothing. We are addicted to consumption. We are economically obese.
Yes. True enough. But this is nothing new. What does this have to do with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer?
You're kidding me, right? I mean, you cannot seriously be asking me that question. Are you, seriously, asking me that question?
Are you going to give me a hard time, or are you going to answer my question?
Sorry, okay. With as little sarcasm and eye-rolling as I can possibly muster, I will answer your question.
How gracious.
All right. So, answer me this. How did the majority of Americans subsidize their December 24th spending spree?
I give up. How?
With their credit cards, of course. Or, with their government-subsidized income. Or with their government-provided unemployment checks.
So what? Are you one of those austerity-obsessed conservatives who would rather watch people suffer than provide for those in need?
No, I'm not. But there is a point to be made. The American people simply do as the government instructs, regardless of whether or not such actions are in fact in their best interest. That is why so many bloggers refer to them as the sheeple. The government is desperate for the people to spend, even if the people are spending money that they did not earn, or that they do not have. All, and I mean all, of the government's policies are geared toward enticing the public into spending. Even if the people have no money, they are still urged to, and congratulated for, spending.
Again, so what? This is nothing new.
Yes. But what the people refuse to recognize is that, once you are in debt, you are no longer truly a free person. The people in America clamor and yammer about being a free people. We blubber on and on and on about making the world safe for democracy, about being the land of the free, the home of the brave. We bellow and belch about airline security people patting us down when we fly. It is a violation of our rights, we holler. We laugh about how the people in Europe are so ignorant. Oh, those ignorant socialists. Oh, those ignorant welfare states.
Right.
And we are all up in arms about the importance of freedom, but the American people refuse to recognize that our money as debt system is the greatest enslaver of all. In fact, our money as debt economic system is a very sinister tyrant.
What do you mean?
For the overwhelming majority of people, debt is slavery. Plain and simple. When one owes money, lots of money, more money than one can ever afford to pay back, to big banks, or to the government, one is enslaved. One no longer has freedom of choice, or freedom of movement, or freedom to speak one's mind, because the creditors, the masters of finance, make and enforce all of the rules. And, the government knows that a people in debt, a citizenry who owes their very survival to the wealthy, and to the debt extenders in Washington, these people must, by the very nature of things, live upon bended knee, and with eyes averted.
Pardon me? Are you saying that the government conspires with the financial industry to keep the people in debt?
Bingo. Give that man a lifetime pass to live in the banana republic of his choice.
But what does this have to do with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poor?
It is pretty clear. Unemployment and underemployment remain at amazingly high levels. Millions of people have simply stopped looking for work altogether. And, the government does not even add these people to the ranks of the unemployed. All of the new jobs that are being created pay $10 per hour. And as I have told you before, no one can live on $10 per hour and participate actively in our gluttonous consuming culture as our leaders demand, without going deeper and deeper into debt. No one can live on $10 per hour without ending up on bended knee, eyes averted, in the offices of the local loan shark or government agent.
Perhaps there isn't much of a difference between the loan shark and the government agent?
Indeed. The loan shark breaks your legs if you cannot pay your debts. The government agent repossesses all of your possessions, and then he ships you off to fight in the next big war of aggression. A war fought to save democracy and freedom. Ha, 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 ha. Actually, a war fought to protect the system that allows him to grow ever richer and richer, but on the backs and on the suffering of the poor. And if you are lucky enough to survive your tour of duty, when you come back home, the government generously extends you loans to purchase a home you cannot afford, and for a college education you cannot employ when looking for a job.
I see where you are heading. Your point is that, in an economic system in which growth is based upon spending and consumption, and in an economic system in which money is literally created by banks who make loans to people and subsequently profit on the interest, and in an economic system in which the government bails out the loan sharks, while at the same time creating more and deeper poverty for the masses, the poor people will always get poorer, because they are constantly fighting the uphill battle of being able to service their debts, while simultaneously being cajoled into spending more and more money. Money that they do not have. Money that is simply credit extended to the financially enslaved, with little hope for them of ever being debt-free.
You got it. And it's even worse than that.
It is? How can it be worse than that? How can it be worse than a nation that claims that its mission is to make the world a free place, but that enslaves its citizens with unrepayable debts? How can it be worse when this same nation is willing to pursue wars of aggression abroad, killing millions of innocent women and children, so that the rich can be free to profit from the increasing indebtedness of their own people?
I will tell you. Because the entire system is rigged to make it virtually impossible to live debt-free. Unless you are rich, you must employ debt in order to own a home, or own a car, or go to college, or go to the dentist, and on and on and on. And once you are in debt, you are enslaved. Once you are in debt, the individual liberties and constitutional freedoms that you think you have, they no longer apply to you. And while on the one hand the government claims that they believe in, and swear to uphold, the ideals of freedom, on the other hand they lord over an economic system that creates increasing numbers of poor people.
You make a valid point.
And if, like me, you try to live debt-free, and on a very modest income, you are ostracized from the mainstream. You are seen as a freak, because you refuse to subsidize a supposedly normal existence with debt.
Well, I cannot argue with you. You, as usual, make very valid arguments. But perhaps it will get better, someday.
It will only get better when people refuse to employ debt to live their lives. It will only get better when, like me, people choose to live on the margins and debt-free, rather than with maxed-out credit cards, paying for their flat-screen TVs and iPads and gas-guzzling cars and unaffordable homes in the suburbs. When the American people awaken from their slumber and realize just how not free they are, perhaps then it will begin to change.